Seedance might be one of the best AI video generators that is currently out there. For example, this video has multiple camera angles which follows the prompt properly and also delivers results that look more like a short film. But how does it stack up to some of the best AI video generators out there? If we take a look at the leaderboard, we can see that Seedance has taken the #1 spot in both text-to-video and image-to-video department compared to Google Veo 3 and Hailuo 02. Now these are some big companies that have been in the game for a long while. So the big question is, now we can finally try out Seedance, how will it stack up against Google Veo 3 and Hailuo 02? What sets Seedance apart from the competition is its ability to create multi-shot video generation with perfect consistency, all from a single prompt. This means that anyone can create cinematic results like this without a degree in prompt engineering. In this video, I will show you how you can create videos using Seedance Lite and Seedance Pro. Then I will show you an image to video comparison between Google Veo 3 and Hailuo 02. And lastly, I will dive into the pricing to see if this tool is actually worth your hard-earned money. You can access Seedance directly through Seedance website, but in my case, we are using OpenArt because with OpenArt you can access Seedance Pro, Veo 3 and all other image and video generators all in one tool. If you want to check this out for yourself, I will leave a link in the description down below. Once you are on the OpenArt home screen, click on video. Here you have two different options. You can use the text to video or you can use the image to video model. I will show you how to use image to video later. So now let's select the text to video option. On the select model, you can select all the most popular AI video generators, but in this case, we will be selecting the model Seedance 1.0. Inside the settings, we will choose Pro. It will cost you 4 times more credit, but it will give you the best results. In the text box, we can write in a prompt and even attach sound to it, but it is not as good as Google Veo 3. So now let's see how good the text to video created by Seedance actually are. The prompt for the first text to video is a Porsche Decor tears through a dusty desert road as the camera moves from a close interior view to a high-speed drift shot, then to a dramatic head-on angle, all wrapped in a gritty cinematic vibe with sunlight, dust and rally-style motion. I really like how smooth the driving is. It honestly feels like something out of a car commercial. I just wish it showed more of the car inside at the start, like hands on the wheel. But overall, it looks awesome. Moving on, we go to the second prompt. A teenager sprints through a narrow alley, splashing through puddles as the camera follows low in front and then cuts to a smooth overhead shot as he slips around a corner but keeps running. It looks very fast and intense. However, these splashing puddles made the road look a bit weird. But overall, it looks like a cool movie scene. Okay, so prompt number 3, I want to generate a prompt that looks like it came from a natural geographic scene. A small bird lands on a wooden fence, pauses and tilts its head, then suddenly flies upward and exits the frame as the camera holds its side angle. This one turned out great. The bird landing felt natural, but the way it flew looked a bit off and kind of funny. Still, it brought the prompt to life really well. Okay, so for the last text to video prompt, 2 kids explore an attic, opening a dusty trunk to find an old photo, then quietly share a moment of wonder as one turns it over and the other leans in. This one came out great. The attic scene feels calm and magical, though the photo spin at the end looked a bit glitchy. Overall, still a strong result. Moving on, I want to see how good Seedance is compared to Google Veo 3 and Hailuo. To keep it fair, I will only compare it based on image to video capabilities. So all of these images are generated in OpenArt using FluxDev. Let's see how each of the video generators performs in terms of prompt coherence and quality of the video. The first one starts off with a black motorcycle speeding down a desert road at sunset, with the camera following close beside it before swinging behind to reveal the open landscape. So with Seedance, the video starts off by tracking the bike really well and stays consistent with the prompt, but the only issue is we don't see the rider's head in the beginning of the shot. Otherwise, I love it. So now let's compare it to Hailuo. The video starts off with a slow-mo shot, then the camera cuts to the side profile tracking the bike and then smoothly lets the bike ride into the horizon. I would also mention it also had the same problem as Seedance, where the camera doesn't show the whole rider. Okay, let's see Google Veo 3. Now the rider took a U-turn, which was interesting, and I do like the smoothness of the transition. Overall, this one would go to Seedance, Google Veo 3 and then Hailuo in my opinion. Okay, prompt number 2. The shot starts with a young Chinese woman standing in a dim kitchen lit only by the fridge and streetlights. The scene cuts to her staring quietly, holding her phone with worry in her eyes and a heavy expression. So let's see how it does. Seedance starts off with a static shot of the woman typing on the phone, then it cuts to show what's on the phone. This part looks weird because the language on the phone is in what I think is Arabic, then it cuts back to the women looking worried. This is really good as it showed everything I'm asking for. Then with Hailuo, the girl was looking at her phone and it glitched to what I think looked like she's ripping a wallet, so Hailuo didn't quite follow the prompt here. For the Google Veo 3, the video starts with the view of the women holding the phone, so it already didn't really follow the prompt. Then it cuts to the women looking anxious and worried, which I quite like the expression, but I noticed that women changed ethnicity. So this is where Seedance comes in action with the character consistency even with multiple shots generation. So my personal ranking would be Seedance in this case, then Hailuo, then Google Veo 3. For number 3, we have a snowboarder in a dark jacket carving through fresh snow on a cloudy slope, with powder flying and pine trees in the distance captured in a cinematic side view. With Seedance, we have a snowboarder doing sick movements sliding down the snow. Nothing to complain about as it looks really natural. I like this one a lot. Then we have Hailuo. I'm not quite sure why it was slow-mo, but again, like Seedance, the movement looks really fluid. And I like the snow effects as well. Then with Veo 3, I think it looks a bit weird. The person looks shorter and I noticed the pants color changed to green. I also think there's a lack of movement in the video. So in this case, nothing beats Seedance. So Seedance 1, Hailuo 2, and Google Veo 3 is number 3. For the fourth prompt, two supercars race side by side through a neon lit city at night, with a low front camera tracking their headlights before letting them speed past into the distance. For Seedance, I love how the lighting looks, the water splashes, and how fast the car feels, but there's a slight glitch where the orange car twitches unnaturally. However, Seedance followed the prompt quite well. For Hailuo, I'm not sure why it gave a static shot for the first few frames, but I do like the result. It reminds me of a game loading screen when it finally loaded and zoomed past quickly. The lights from the backlight look so sick. Google Veo 3 has some tough competition on this prompt. It starts off strong with the best looking graphics out of the three, especially the details to the buildings and road, but it didn't quite get the prompt as the cars stayed in frame and did not speed into the distance. This is a tough one, but I think I will give it to Hailuo, then Seedance, then lastly Google Veo 3. Let me know which one you prefer in this example. Okay, so for this fifth prompt, a teddy bear sits still as one side slowly burns, embers rising and fur blackening, while the camera quietly pushes in toward its calm, unblinking face. Let's see how it turns out. Seedance is quite good. The way the fire spreads with some black fumes looks realistic, and I also like that the teddy bear had some small movement, and it's not just static the whole way through. Now for Hailuo, I like the fire spreading and how the burnt marks turn dark, but it's missing the smoke, which takes away in the realism. It zooms in a little too much, but overall the result is pretty good. Now for Google Veo 3, the generation looks great, but same with Hailuo, it's lacking the smoke. And I also noticed the burnt marks do not spread across the body of the teddy bear, which is odd. In this case, Seedance is again the winner with Hailuo coming close, then Google Veo 3. Moving on, we have image number 6, and the prompt would be a young woman walks up to a market stall with wildflowers, offering them to an elderly vendor who smiles and trades her an apple. All captured in a smooth, warm side-tracking shot. Now for Seedance, the opening scene looks great, but when the women handed the wildflowers over, it glitched and the vendor did not end up taking it. The vendor did reach in to get the apple, so it sort of followed the prompt with minor issues. Let's see how Hailuo does it this time. The woman managed to pass the wildflowers to the vendor, but at the same time, it glitched and looked like she also passed an apple. This time Hailuo followed the prompt a bit better, but with problems as well. Let's move on to Google Veo 3 results. The women did not pass over the wildflowers as well, and also bugged where she picked up an apple herself before the vendor gave the apple to her. This prompt is quite hard for the AI models to follow, so I will leave that up to you guys to decide who won. For image number 7, it should be less challenging. A slow forward dolly shot of a vast underground temple carved from dark stone glows faintly under warm evening light, with ancient pillars and symbols leading to a distant desert view through the entrance. For Seedance, the video starts with a nice smooth camera shot from the end of the temple to the door, showing the desert view very well. It followed the prompt as I imagined, but it's pretty simple. Let's see how Hailuo compares. The opening shot of it slowly moving to the entrance was great, but the beginning of the shot gets a bit dark for some reason. Although I really like the lighting shining through the temple, in the end you can see the dusty air particles, which looks amazing. Let's see if Google Veo 3 can compare to the two amazing results. Okay, for Veo 3, the lighting from the beginning moving to the entrance looks consistent, and I like that it gives that dusty air particles like Hailuo did without compromising on the lighting environment, but I do like Hailuo better. Overall, this is a tough one. All three video generators gave amazing results, but I think Hailuo gave the most cinematic result, then Google Veo 3 and then Seedance. Let me know which one you prefer in this example. Moving on, we have image number 8, and this is going to be an interesting one. A woman walks through a golden desert at sunset, her scarf blowing as the camera moves from a front view to behind her, then to a glowing side profile lit by the sun. So now for Seedance, Seedance, we have a nice front-facing shot, then hard cut to a back view, as I expected from the prompt, but I don't see her scarf blowing in the wind, so it didn't quite get the full prompt. The camera cuts again to show the side profile with sunlight in the background, which is very well done. For Hailuo, it starts off with the women walking with more motion, which I like because it's realistic. However, I feel like the result was cleverly funny because it just made the girl turn around to see her back view, which is still following the prompt but not what I had in mind. Then it did a smooth transition to the side profile with sunlight beaming on her face, which followed the prompt. It also did not do a good job at her scarf blowing, but overall this is also a really good result. Let's see how Google Veo 3 compares. The video starts off slow with the women looking into the camera, then slowly turns around to show the back, which I like a lot. Then smoothly transitioned to the side profile. I don't have much to dislike about this. For this example, this is another close one as they all had pretty much the same flaws, but I do like Seedance more just because of the hard cut camera shot and still keeping the women consistent in each shot, while Google Veo 3 comes close, then Hailuo would be the third. Okay, this next image, which is number 9, is a zebra drinking calmly at a river's edge as a hidden crocodile suddenly bursts from the water, jaws wide, sending the zebra fleeing in a fast, brutal moment captured by a steady camera. I am very interested in how good Seedance is with this one. Damn, that zebra is thirsty. It drank for 6 seconds without realizing the danger it was in, and the crocodile burst out of the water with wide jaws, looking really insane with the water effect. However, the zebra reacted too calmly to the situation and moved away slowly. Let's see how Hailuo does it. The zebra drank and did a twitch almost like he saw the crocodile, which is cool. However, when the crocodile attacked, it fell down and disappeared, while the zebra seemed to do a 360, then glitched before running off. Let's see if Google Veo 3 is any better. The zebra looked at the crocodile for a brief moment and the crocodile barely launched at it, which looked weird. The zebra also tried to escape by running into the same direction, which is pretty funny. Overall, in this example, I would put Seedance at number 1, then Veo 3, and lastly Hailuo. The last video we will look at today is an interesting one. A lone pixel man and his dog standing on a cliff at sunset, watching the glowing pixel sun sink into the ocean as birds drift by and long shadows stretch across the scene. For Seedance, it did a great job at animating the vibrant sky, and it gives me a vibe of Terraria with enhanced graphics on, but there are some glitches like the leash on the dog and the birds colliding and duplicating. Other than that, it is a really solid result. For Hailuo, the colors are less vibrant and the way the sun goes down does not look as good as Seedance. And I also noticed glitches where the bird turned into ashes. Let's see how Google Veo 3 does it. The entirety of the video is really consistent and the birds did not glitch like the rest, but I still much prefer the Seedance version. I do want to know your guys' opinion on this one. I would give first place to Seedance, then Google Veo 3, then Hailuo. After all the comparisons, in my opinion, Seedance makes the best video generations. The only problem is that Hailuo and Seedance doesn't have audio generation, and it just so turns out Google Veo 3 may be the best if you want the full package. But it all comes down to pricing, because Veo 3 is currently the most expensive one. Let's break it down. OpenArt is currently running a 50% off promotion with their annual subscription, which means if you subscribe to the OpenArt's Infinite plan during this period, you will be paying $28 per month, and that gives you 24,000 credits. Breaking down the math, it's about 1/6 of a cent per credit. Now let's compare that to the actual cost per 5-second video generation. Seedance Pro uses around 400 credits per generation, which equals about 46 cents. Hailuo uses 300 credits, costing around 35 cents per generation. Google Veo 3, on the other hand, is significantly more expensive, coming in at roughly $2.91 per generation, and that number could vary depending on their latest pricing. The question is paying 6 times more for Veo 3 compared to Seedance, or 8 times more for Veo 3 compared to Hailuo worth it? I will leave that up to you. All of these tools by using the discount that I leave in the description down below. The real advantage of OpenArt is that you get access to all of them under one subscription, with a far more affordable credit-based system that scales with how much you create. If you want to learn more about OpenArt and how you can generate awesome images using AI, then click the video that's on the screen right now, and I will teach you how to use Flux Context, which is an amazing skill to learn, especially if you're generating image to videos.